Marco fell at the last minute. What's going on, y'all? Happy Friday. Happy to be here with you. What's up, Rocco? Saying hello. Hope everyone had a wonderful Halloween. Hopefully not too sick from the candy. If you're not, I'm sure there's still some left in the bucket. Get involved. You can still be sick this weekend. All right. Let's take a look at the markets today. Nice day today. A reversal from yesterday's growth scare, right? So we'll take a look. Amazon was a big chunk of today. It was a monster 6% day after their earnings crushed it last night. Lift consumer discretionary, big day. Biotechs also a big day. Chances are, if you owned biotech, it was up nicely today. I was a part of the, benefiting on that aspect. And then airlines, this story is major. The airline story, if you haven't been paying attention, we were talking about yesterday. I wanted to buy United Airlines, and that's in my notes. Jets ETF at 52-week high today. Some of these look really good. And on the downside, Brazil, a big drop today, down 3%. We'll take a look. And this week, really, at the end of the day, characterized by big drops in nat gas. That thing absolutely plummeted all the way today to new 52-week lows. Can't say that about a lot of spaces in the market. Brazil also notably, and energy. All right, the XOP specifically complex. So without further ado, let's share the old screen here. Let's look at the image here that we have. There we go. So this is for today. Today's Amazon 6% earnings day lifts XLY, consumer discretionary. Biotechs and airlines both rally about 2%. Airlines to 52-week highs, while Brazil drops 3%. She looks pretty happy, this woman here, because Amazon is just making deliveries and delivering more and more cash, while there's some sort of Russian typos or something here in the middle. But the point is here, I guess the charts are up, and here they spell tech with a K. Pretty cool. All right, so let's get into the charts here. We'll begin with, of course, the SPY intraday action, and there we are in terms of the target. So first off, let us go to the intraday charts. Boopity boopity pop. Okay, so here's the intraday chart. Began here. We peaked this morning specifically at 10:30 a.m. around 575.5. And then we struggled with that. Specifically, we closed under VWAP at 11:30 a.m., technically the European close. And we battled with it. We contended with it around 1:30 p.m. And then it fell out from there, and it got worse. All that being said, though, obviously we traded up on the day. S&P's up 40. NASDAQ even better, up 75. And vol was in about 2%. But in terms of the price action, not really great. We couldn't hold VWAP, and that number was 572.65. So not great trading for the entire afternoon session. Volume decent. Amazon was a big mover today. So they zoom out and go into our SPY call. As I said, this could end sooner than later, by anticipating about another several days of weakness. I still have my end date here for about November the 6th for distribution end date, and that should be right around 576. Today we ripped up $2 from 569 to 571. We're towards the lower bottom of the lower part of this Bollinger Band here, which is pretty steady. Essentially we're toggling with levels that we were bouncing in the middle of July, when a lot of the tech spaces peaked, and we'll be looking at a lot of meaningful charts today. So all that being said, love any entry over the next week under 576. I'm going to be looking specifically for uranium, Dell, and United Airlines. That's on my list. So those are all great names. I suggest they could probably be on your list as well. Anyway, so yeah, I see this bottom around 576. Probably going to be the entry point. If you get anything under than that, wonderful. The low, I think, would be somewhere around 565. Once you get that, whenever it is, election day volatility ramp up, if and whenever you get it. Probably about 565 is as low as it's going to get in the S&P and in SPY, I believe. And that'll be a great entry point. And still the target is right around 585 to 590 in 2 to 3 weeks. So a nice move to the upside, anticipating, especially after election uncertainty is once it's done and through. All right, but these are big events. You get 2 of these in 10 years, time. So you don't get more than 2 in a decade. That's market quickly adjusts, though. You'd be surprised. Okay, so let's look at the big movers today and why, or if there's any juice, any meat on the bone here. So XBI, a big move up 2%. I was long a company called ADMA. These biotechs are crazy. The company was up 19% today. It's grown to my biggest holding. It always helps when you diversify. These things are crazy though, and trade events, special sets type stuff. So anyway, so biotech, I wasn't really actually thinking the group was going to be in favor for about another week or so. But all it is doing is hovering right around its 21-day exponential moving average around $98. There's volatility here, so I know it's $1 away, but this could bounce up and down from that. Still around 200-day moving average. Not a bad story. I am a part of it, like I said, an individual biotech. That's how you get paid these things. Although this index doesn't look terrible, it almost looks similar to Bitcoin in that its highs were put in, almost exactly 8 to 9 months ago, similar to Bitcoin, and then it's been basing across a similar risk appetite as well in terms of volatility class. So, anyways, this looks like it could be maybe out of favor, considering I don't love the market for the next couple of days until it bottoms out. This looks like on an ugly day it could flush down to about 94, 95, but a nice move today. Then that will be your buy point, 94, 95, and then that'll probably pop to 98 and then move towards 102. But for right now, I'd still be careful of the downside, looking for an entry point. But a nice move today, up 2%. XLY, I'm not going to look at the individual Amazon component. We're going to look at XLY, the basket. This is the Amazon, Tesla, Home Depot fund. It comprises, I believe, more than 50% of this ETF. So 52-week high here on the October 28th. I mean, if you remember, Tesla's been on an absolute runaway train, and now XLY joined the party with Amazon's big 6% move. This looks just a little toppy. My target for this would have been 204, 205, right around there. So it has a potential for a little bit more to go. Probably has maybe a little bit more bullishness next week, but the target again in terms of upside about 204, 205, which is 2% or so from here. And then more likely is a move towards 198, I believe, over the next 2 to 3 weeks. But yeah, a great group to be a part of. Okay, and airlines, we can't ignore this group. This is very important because I'll just give you a teaser. This is now on the list for top 5 trades for the past year. We've always been talking Bitcoin, nat gas, semiconductors, home construction, and now this group has quickly really surged. Looked at some of the financials in some of these airlines. They look really appetizing in terms of where I think investor dollars can go. Market cap to revenue annual for a lot of these firms are 1-to-1 at this point. So they typically do lose money, but a lot of these in terms of where you're going, in terms of appetite, you can go out and get investments like this. So in terms of just analyzing this is the chart, JETS. I like United, but Delta looks great as well. A lot of these look pretty good. So this one, it's surprising, had a nice move up today, up 1.9% to new 52-week highs. The candle, we didn't close at the absolute top. That was 23.39, so a little bit of a come off, but not much, just 1%. It's overbought, and the group has been overbought since October 15th. So this thing's been running, especially since it broke out above these May highs of about 21.30 or so. It really did that in one candle after it did this on October 16th. And it's been overbought ever since. So there's really a line to get in. This is like, I had to use the same example. This is like T-Swift tickets. There's a line to get in for this for right now. A couple of different factors. The financials, I think, for a lot of these firms look good. Also, oil's been dropping right to near 52-week lows. It helps this group. And then, obviously, if you get rates to go lower, these guys could refinance a lot of their expensive jetliners for less refinancing purposes. Wow, that was like a word jumble, like Harris type answer. Anyways, apologies, I'm tired. So yeah, this group still looks high. You do get a little bit of a bearish convergence. You got a new price high on here, and the RSI is not really clinching towards new highs. I want to see it get above, 75, 80, 82 would be a new RSI print. It didn't do it here. So it tells me this is going to come down just a little bit. The 21 EMA on this is all the way back at 21.95. That would be really a come down, but this looks more natural to come back to about 22.30 or so. That's probably going to be my entry into United. So I'll hopefully use that if I get it. Okie dokie. Downside today and a rough week for Brazil. Brazil down 2.5% today. Yikes. So just technical analysis 101 for this. This just looks like a chart of death here. This thing has looked just really like crap since mid-March here. It's really been contending with the 200-day moving average. And really, I even say the tombstone you could put up is when the 200-day moving average is starting to go lower here, and that was really mid-April. Then you really had to get out. This was the best it could muster in early to mid-May here. Three closes or so, 2 closes above the 200-day moving average, and a really ugly ever since August. It couldn't get that, and now we're here. So now what? This looks really beat up. It is closing in on oversold with 31 RSI. I still like it to the downside. It looks pretty bad. You may get pops to 28.5 just because it's being a little bit aggressively oversold. I do like sales at 28.5 down to about 27. But I'd be careful in terms of overall markets. I think we've been calming the exuberance, as it were, for the last 2 weeks. Even the FXI, I like the movements. The markets looks like it's settled down. It's going to take a breath into the election, I think, and then we're getting ready to rip higher. This group specifically, though, the week where you put in these 52-week lows back here in August, and it looks like it wants to visit them. Yeah, I don't. Where's that at? 26, the exact low is 26.23. My target here for the low is 27 with expanding volatility, so it's possible that it wants to take that out. I don't think so, because not a lot of many things are getting liquidated like this. We'll take a look at some charts that possibly are, but yeah, I don't like this chart. Rather be short than long. Don't think you have a ton of risk to the downside, but definitely don't want to just buy this and gobble it up. If it gets to like I said, to 20.5, I would sell that and participate on the downside. Okay. Top 3 gainers of the past 5 days, no repeats in charts. Bitcoin through the IBIT up 3.5%. A lot of people thought it was going to go through and get new all-time highs. I thought it was going to come just shy and then start to go back. I believe that's exactly what's happening here. So it got very close. It got within $225 of the $73,600 high, whatever it was, in March. And then it got decembered. So now for this specific ETF, I think this is going to hover towards 38. Obviously, if Trump wins and people think this is going to rip as, the election, the votes are coming in. We'll see what happens Tuesday night. But in terms of the charts, and that's usually led me the correct way for this, I think this is headed towards 38 even, the IBIT, over the next 2 to 3 weeks. I just don't think this group finds favor. And because obviously, let's just see what it corresponds to in this. Yeah, basically right around 67,000 is where I see Bitcoin decline to over the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we'll say not a huge digestion point, but I think that's what happens. Okie dokie. Volatility. So Bitcoin was at the best spot to be in this week, Monday to Friday, up 3.5%. Second, volatility though. So not overall bullish, great stuff happening this week in the markets. When you have volatility as your second best security, if it was treated as an asset class. So volatility, as I said, I've been calling for it to get to 58. Said that for a while ago. I see it possibly peaking around 60. I actually still stand by that. 60 would. It seems kind of crazy that would be taking us all the way to almost 3-month highs in terms of fear. Possibly, I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe if you get a really market just gets freaked out, something happens on Tuesday, or who knows? Someone finds 3 million. Ballots in a dumpster somewhere. I don't even know. But if you something, I don't think it's impossible that you get volatility, not exploding, but you get it to 60. I still think that's going to happen. All right, volatility making its work this week too. It's up 2.5% to be the second best asset this week. So that's on my side here. And then TAN, the third best group. This thing's been absolutely just taken out back. It's funny. The biggest gainers this week. A lot of people say Trump is the Bitcoin is the Trump thing. That's the first biggest one. A lot of people said solar is the Harris thing. Harris is the third best asset, and the second best asset this week is volatility. So it's almost like Trump, vol, who knows what's going to happen, and then Harris. It's kind of funny. And let's see if that's how normal distribution, what happens next week in terms of how reality treats us. If he does win, who knows, and then she wins. I think that's probably how reality is going to treat us. But let's say here's the TAN ETF. I'm very tired. I'm probably not making sense. I hope I am. Anyone watching? I don't know. All right, so here's the solar ETF. So this group has had a nice run. I said it probably wants to make them move towards its 200-day moving average of 42. Today it was flat. Pretty impressive to see for a group that's had a big run. Like I said, this thing tanked and hit 37 essentially on October 21st. It's had a 10-day rally. Could have a little bit more to go. I think it wants to make a run towards the 200-day moving average. To me, that would probably be a move to sell it, unless again, if that's the day after election day and perhaps she wins, and then it's possible this has a 10% move above this and this closes at 46. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. So you can trade straddles on this. It's kind of expensive, but there are trades around this. TAN, this group, the third best ETF this week, up 2.5%. All right, the losers. This is very impressive. Nat gas. Can't say this about too many. I said it looked like when gravity is so heavy on an asset like this and such a piece of crapola, it looks like it probably is intentionally headed towards a new 52-week low, and that's what we got today in the natural gas contract. It took out its August lows, and it was down 1.8%. Yeah, similar almost exactly to the Brazil chart. I don't think your downside immediately in the next 2 weeks is extremely lower, but yeah, I'd rather be a seller. My target for this was 1280, so it ripped through this to the downside. Don't like it. I would love any bounces to 14, and that would be my invitation to start to get short through put spreads again. And if you got a beautiful textbook tag of 1590, that would be a crash test dummies way to short it on the way up. But new 52-week lows for this. Again, just a great, 3 times a year you get an opportunity like this in terms of this asset. Literally 1, 2, I'll give you that one, 3, 4. I'll count this as 1. So 4 times this year, a quarterly chance to sell that gas, and you had on October 3rd, and from a crazy trade almost above a Bollinger Band all the way to new 52-week lows, a crazy trade from 16 to 12, so 25% in just a month's move. So that's wow. All right, so nat gas, the worst place this week, down 13.5%. So this thing gave up the ghost very quickly. If you were able to sell in terms of recently on the 25th around 14, great job. That's when really it looked like it peaked at 10 and sold off below. Next, Brazil. No, we're not repeating charts, but Brazil is the second worst place to be in the market, down 4%. And then lastly, XOP, the third worst place to be was the XOP specifically. The user yesterday was specifically asking about a stock that is in this group. So they just, has not had a good week. Obviously, there's better areas in the market to be in. But let's take a look at what's happening here now. So it was down today 1%. I think the floor on this is about 129, so which is where it currently is. I think this is for now safe, this 9/11 low of 124. I think that's okay. This 200-day moving average, though, is an absolute wall at 142. That's your ultimate pie in the sky. If things get, animal spirits, everything else, you get this 2-3 week rally gets to 142. That's your absolute best. I don't think it's going to get better than that. That is a wall. Hasn't traded there since July. And what else? Yeah, more likely though the bounce takes it to 134 or 4 points from here. All right, so top 3 absolute trades of the past 5 days. If you were short nat gas, congrats, 13.5% in your pocket. If you were short Brazil, 4%, congrats. And then if you're short energy, specifically through XOP, this one, 4%, congrats. Those are the trades of the market. So very commodity focused, short nat gas, Brazil, and XOP. So I was glad to participate on the short energy side. Actually closed out that trade today, the Schlumberger puts for a 25% profit. Close that out. Like I said, see bullishness creeping into the market, especially after Tuesday. So I'm taking off some of my very short, little bear moves. Maybe add a few on, but I'm going to be getting more bullish next week. Top 5 past absolute top 5 absolute trades of the past 52 weeks. We of course always do 3. I'm making it 5 because of there's bunching at the top here. So top trade of the past year from last November 1st to today, which is November 1st. GBTC up 104%. I'm not going to go too much involved in this because we just did the IBIT and the Bitcoin chart, but this is your best stock, your best ETF return though in the entire complex, up a 104 or a clean double. As you can see here, last November 1st, $28, and today it's at right around $55. Although it went from the last close. So anyways, that's how you got to 104. Anyway, same thing. So obviously Bitcoin chart, March 13th is the high. This just, again, I don't want to go too much on this, but this has had a different kind of battle ever since the Japan Nikkei crash on August 5th. It's when there was like a chink in the armor here for the first time in this Bitcoin chart. And then it really took a long time, and it's still kind of contending with it. If this rally persists, you can really say only as recent as last week, it's finally actually to hold its head and hold the 200-day moving average for more than 2 weeks worth of session, something it hasn't been able to do since July. So let's see. Obviously, the strength is with it. I don't think Bitcoin, that being said, I don't think it's a bullishness for the next 2 weeks. I think this heads a little bit lower. This probably heads a little bit closer to 54, maybe as low as 53 or so before you want to go higher. But the best trade of the past year, this one right here, GBTC. The second one behind it by a bit is the semiconductors, up 72%. still your monster. It's very important to note, though, we were saying there was so much clawing between semiconductors and home builders. Home builders fell way off due to the buck kicking it's been taking with the rates move. So that's fell back. Semiconductors has been endurable, even though super microcomputer looks like the new Enron. Nvidia with its new all-time highs, or at least holding near it, has been helpful. The all-time highs for this group has been 7-11. As I said, not as scary a chart as Bitcoin in terms of the August crash here in Japan. GBTC has been contending with it, right, from almost recently. This is the semiconductors did it in mid-September. It's got its legs underneath it versus in terms of momentum versus Bitcoin. So I like the group, as I said, a nice move today, up 1.2%. I like this. I think this is going to pop quickly to at least 249. Like this group. I'm long NVIDIA, as I said, and an ultimate target right around 265. 2 to 3 weeks from now. I like this group. And then I think it gets tired. I don't think these 7-11 all-time highs at 283 get taken out. We'll see, though, if everyone having warm and fuzzy and the whole country's happy next week. I don't see how that's going to happen, but let's see if who knows what this video is we're going to be talking about, what the story is next Friday. We'll see. All right, next, nat gas. I'm not going to go on the chart again, but short nat gas is the third best trade in the market from year over year, down 57%. So if you're looking for shorts, that is the one. And then fourth best, this one is the one that's clawed and had a new 52-week high today. So the momentum is with this grasshopper as we speak today. It's the Jets Airlines. So looks great. Hence why I am saying, I'll just pull this up one more time. So I'm looking for an individual component. I like getting paid in that. This, like I said, has just come a little bit too quick. I think this heads towards 22, and that'll be your invitation, right around 22.10. So about $1.05 or so reduction. Maybe you get these names on sale. Maybe oil rips one day, and that is your catalyst. I think that'll be my shot next week. But again, this is the fourth best trade in the market, the third best long. If you're in this group, congrats. And again, I think the tailwind of the fundamentals in terms of valuation all makes sense. It's a horrible timing mechanism, but when multiples are rising on the index as a whole, people are going to be clamoring and looking for some outside of small cap, some nice on sale, not insane type multiples that you're paying for stuff like Amazon and all the other large Mag 7s. So this group looks good. I like it. And then last one, the ITB is your fifth best group. So it goes up 54%. So it's Bitcoin past year. If you were on these five, you're absolutely crushing the market. Massive alpha here. Bitcoin in it. Semis in it through NVIDIA, short nat gas, going to get back in it because it's such a piece of crap. New 52-week low today for that. So momentum is with that one to the downside. Airlines, Jets, getting in it next week through Airlines, through through United Airlines. And then long ITB, I'm long the IYR, which is not fared as well. So these are the places to be in the market. Have your chips on that allocated in some way, shape, or form. The market's adding 2% or so per month. It seems, obviously, with some stop and goes, you want to have. So what should we be talking about? Probably more risk management, considering the technicals show us what spaces we should be in. So really, you got to be in Bitcoin, semiconductors, short nat gas. If you have that appetite, you should really consider looking at airlines, and the home, the real estate story is definitely still in play, especially as the Fed is very likely to cut. I believe almost guaranteed 25 bips next week. Have an awesome weekend, and we will see y'all next week. Peace, y'all.